you got to use your time to create the demand. The problem is your time is limited. The name of the game to increase your income is leverage. You accumulate social capital to create demand. Whoever has all the demand has all the power, right? In influence, you always want to be the buyer, not the seller, right? So we are the buyers. We're interviewing them on if they have what it takes, if it's a good fit. Yeah, it's no closing needed.
Got it.
Just like I'm buying a company, there's no closing needed. Well, I shouldn't say there's no closing needed. There's negotiation. Right,
but then you did talk about it in the SMART challenge, I guess, which we won't go into tonight, but leveraging your social credibility gives you more control, so that when these people come in and you're in control, you're the buyer, you can say, well, I don't need you. You can't negotiate your terms with me.
Okay, this is a very, very, very key lesson.
Yeah.
We accumulate social capital, not for fame, right? Fame without fortune is frustration. It's not talking about that.
Right.
You accumulate social capital to create demand. If the end goal is to drive up demand, because only when doesn't matter what you do, you own your own business, you're operating as a closer, you're operating as a copywriter. The name of the game, it's the law, economics, supply and demand, right? A lot of demand, very little supply. What happens to price? It goes up. It's that simple. So you accumulate social capital so that you could drive up the demand. The name of the game is drive the demand. Now, most people, if you don't utilize social media, which is the name of the game, then how do you drive up demand? Think of back in the days.
Yep.
You have to use your manual labor.
Yes.
You have to use your time. You have to go shake their hand,
networking
meet the
events,
person, all of that. A lot of new business, right? They start.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to use your time to create the demand. The problem is your time is limited. If you spend all your time creating the demand manually, and then plus doing the fulfillment, plus everything else you got to do, that's why those businesses don't grow. So social media is powerful because it's 1 to how many?
Yeah.
It's this exponential amount. It's 1 to many. It gives you leverage. It's not about hustle. That's why I hate when people say hustle, hustle, hustle. It's not about hustle. The name of the game to increase your income is leverage, right? How do you put yourself in front of more people? When you drive the demand, you can dictate terms.
Yep.
So it goes back to negotiation. That's why having walkaway power is just very powerful. If I want this and there's no other alternative, I have zero negotiation power because I have no alternatives. But I have social capital and say, hey, if this deal works, great, but I've got 100 other deals.
Yep.
Even if this deal works great, I still have 100 other deals that I could look at. I say, okay, which one is better term? Which one is better fit? Whoever has all the demand has all the power, right? So you're in command because you're in demand. But no one talks about creating demand. In Smart Challenge, we talk about this.
We do. Yep.
The instability, invisibility, I share the whole framework.
Yep.
No one could buy from you if they don't know you, right? And there's always this battle of fighting, trying to get attention. This battle of fighting to be known. This battle of fighting to build credibility. Well, a lot of that goes away when you got a lineup of people wanting to do business with you, right? So I learned that very early on in my career. So everything I do is about that. So I'll give you a perfect example.
Yep.
In the beginning of my career, I would go to these networking functions and meet with people, and you shake hands and you talk to people before COVID, of course, right?
Yes.
And you meet with people and hey, it's my business card. What do you do? My business card, and let's do coffee, let's do all that. And after a while, I just found that incredibly inefficient. Right now, before social media, I just realized whoever is at the front of the room gets to meet all the people instantly. That's why I before I wanted to improve my English speaking skill. As that goes on, I found that just by being a speaker in front of the room, it makes a huge difference.
You get credibility.
Stage time equals wealth time. Write this down, right? If that's the case, instead of me, let's say 100 people in the room, I meet with you, I meet 10 people max, 20 people. But if I'm in the front and I talk, I might not meet 100 people, but 100 people have met me.
Yep.
And afterwards, they line up and wanted to talk. And that changed my game. So I wouldn't go to any networking business thing unless I'm the speaker.
So then you converted that to online.
Yeah, it's the same idea. the difference is instead of 1 to 100, 1 to 200, it's 1 to
Millions.
tens of millions, right? It's exactly what it is.